If you're seeking to boost your clarity in any decision you have been wanting to make or any situation that you're going through and you keep asking yourself, is this the right decision for me? Is this the right approach for me? Even, is this the right path for me? I want you to go right now to my show notes because I have prepared a free and simple 3 questions framework for you to go through that by answering these questions, I promise you'll feel a lot more clearer and you'll start creating fulfilling outcomes out of the decisions you're making. Just go right now or you can go to ybcoaching.com/clarity. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to the With Clarity and Purpose podcast with your host, Yanet Borrego. Each week, I bring you an inspiring person or message to empower you to live life on your terms so you can be who you want to be, do what you are meant to do, and have the life you deserve to have. We will provide you with practical and cutting-edge approaches to continue getting clarity and direction on your path, mastering your mindset, and gaining confidence to tap into your inner wisdom so you can live on purpose. I want to start today's episode with a quote from Nelson Mandela. There is no passion to be found in playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you're capable of living. Today is all about living a purpose-driven life, okay? So we'll be discussing the 3 mindset shifts to live a purpose-driven life. And you might be thinking, some of you might be thinking, a purpose-driven life, what is that? It sounds like such an abstract concept. I've heard you mentioning that several times. What is it? So I have 3 elements when I explain what the purpose-driven life is about. The first one is authenticity, then fulfillment, and then impact. Authenticity is the first one because in order to live a purpose-driven life, you have to do it through your own voice, story, direction. You have to really learn about who you are and who you want to become. I speak about this over and over in most podcast episodes. And I truly believe that the journey of life is to get there, is to unlearn everything that we have been programmed to believe. Because the reality is that in most of our early years, we are being taught what to think, not how to think. So this concept about really discovering who we are and what we want, it's pretty new when you enter that adulthood phase and you start asking, there is something that doesn't feel right. What is it? How do I learn about what it is? And my answer is always, you have to gain clarity in who you are, who you want to become, and the direction you want to take in order to get there. And the direction may vary, but your North Star and your long-term vision is gonna be probably very similar every time you redefine it. So that's the first one, is authenticity, is learning how to own your voice and your story and being comfortable with it. The second one is fulfillment. When you truly own your voice, your story, and as I said, this is a lifelong journey. So believe me, after you finish this podcast, it's not that you have to do it in 1 month, right? This is a lifelong journey of learning who you are and what you're here for. Because I truly believe that every single one of us are here for a higher purpose, are here to accomplish something, even if it's a lesson that you need to get in this life, even if it's growing in an area of your life, but you wouldn't be here if you wouldn't have a purpose, okay? And the purpose is not suffering and being in a place you don't want to be. You have willpower, you have the resources you need to succeed already within you. And because they're within you, and when you start living that authentic truth, you're gonna start feeling that sense of fulfillment, because you're not seeking that external validation anymore. You're now comfortable with who you are, and the decisions you're taking is based on what you have learned about yourself, not about what you have been taught about yourself, but rather it's a self-exploration process of getting there. That's why authenticity and fulfillment are very important, because they are linked to each other. When you start acting authentically, you start feeling that fulfillment bubble up. And the third one is an impact, okay? It is really important that whatever you decide to do, that is good for yourself, good for others, and good for the planet, right? And all of these three manifested in the area of career in my life. As you have heard in previous podcasts, my background is in engineering, and when I started in corporate, I put a foot down and I realized this is not where I see myself longer term. I didn't have clarity, but inside myself, I just knew that it was something, I was meant for something bigger and more fulfilling. Not bigger in the amount of size, but bigger in the amount of growth. There was a point that I was comfortable in my comfort zone, and there was a point that I was uncomfortable in my comfort zone, and that's when I started to decide just growing and stretching myself further to understand really why I was here for, okay? So authenticity, fulfillment, and impact, because a purpose-driven life is also to help others live a fulfilling, joyful, and happy life, whatever format that takes for you. It doesn't have to be the same for everyone, of course. So purpose-driven life, it's that. Authenticity, living in authenticity, getting fulfillment out of it because you're living in joy and happiness, that you're doing what you truly believe in. And the third one is creating an impact through whatever you decide to do and be for yourself. It's funny because I see this in my coaching clients all the time. When they start taking action to gain clarity on who they are and they start living authentically, things start manifesting for them that it's aligned to their direction and their path. I have one client, and I actually interviewed her in one of my previous episodes, Paola. When she came to me as my coaching client, she was like, Janet, I've always had this idea of doing an MBA, but I don't know if it's right for me. I just don't seem to understand why I want it, or maybe why I wouldn't want it. And we work consistently during the coaching sessions in helping her bridge that gap between the person she was and the person she wanted to be. And when we bridge a gap with NLP techniques, hypnosis, and all the different tools and questions, right? The right questions will get you the right answers. She understood that MBA was the right path for her. She has a dream of being an inclusion and diversity leader so she can bridge the gap between minorities and women, and they can get better opportunities than the ones they are getting right now. And something about my clients, their stories and their dreams really inspire me. And that's something that truly inspired me. And it's funny because right now, when I'm recording this episode, she just got accepted in 2 huge MBA programs. And she's very happy that she's taking decisions aligned to that path. I have another client that while working in corporate, we were working together, and she defined the 2 entrepreneurial paths she wanted to explore, and she started taking action. And the more action she started taking on those, the more she started to manifest in regards to those paths. It is really important that you understand your direction and you put the intention out there and you take action, because the only way through clarity is through action, my friends. I have this other client that she put out there into the universe, into the space, the intention that she wanted to be living in LA by January 2022. And when we started taking action, we did the breakthrough, we released all her limiting beliefs and negative emotions. She actually got there. Like whenever we set that goal, she didn't have idea of what was gonna happen, because there was no way that was gonna happen. Okay, there was a lot of faith and action, consistent action involved in the process. But when we got to November and she got an opportunity, and I'm not joking, she got an opportunity to work in LA from Houston, Texas. And not only that, she got an opportunity of a job that was the perfect combination of the entrepreneurial world and still the corporate world, which is what she wanted in order to align more to that entrepreneurial direction that she wants. I keep seeing this over and over. Whenever you start operating in authenticity and you start taking action and you gain clarity through action, you start manifesting, my friends, the life and the things you want. That it's easy? No, it's not easy. Taking action is not easy because you feel uncomfortable, because you're growing, you're stretching. And I always say, even though it's not easy, it's the most fulfilling thing you have done. And part of that is investing in yourself, investing money, time, energy in yourself in order to get you there. Because whatever you have done in the past, if you're not getting the results you want right now, why do you keep doing the same, right? You gotta shift your mindset. And that's why today's episode is 3 mindset shifts to get you there, to live in a purpose-driven life. The first one of these mindset shifts is going from looking for external validation to internal fulfillment. This one is really important one, because a lot of times these bold and aligned decisions sometimes are the least popular ones. And you gotta ask yourself, are you doing it for others? Or are you, even if it's for the first time, doing it for yourself? From external validation to internal fulfillment. And not only that, sometimes the road you're taking is the less traveled road, the entrepreneurial route that I'm taking. Every day I have to figure out what to do. And it's a lot of repetition and refinement. I did this, it didn't work. Okay, how else it can work? And then doing it. And again, it's not easy, but it's very fulfilling. And I grow and I enjoy and I learn and I meet like-minded people. And it's super fun, it's super creative to be in this zone all the time. The other thing inside the external validation part, I was interviewing a few days ago a very seasoned entrepreneur. He's an owner of a restaurant here. He has been a real estate investor. He's an executive in corporate. He's doing everything at the same time, which I love. I was interviewing him and I asked him, what is one piece of advice that you would give our listeners if they want to take this entrepreneurial route or anything else to align to your purpose? And he said, something that I wish I would have done was trusting my gut faster. Sometimes you know this, you have this inner voice telling you, stop playing small. You are meant for bigger things. You're meant for creating this huge impact. It took me 9 years to get to a place that I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it and go all in. And I truly think these 9 years I needed it to gain clarity. But I'm sharing all of these and all these stories of people with unconventional paths when I do the interviews. So you can do it in a much shorter time, okay? I'm giving you everything that a lot of times I didn't have in the past, so you can be in a better place. So trust in your gut. And when he said that, I was like, what a great reminder to myself and my listeners to trust our gut faster. Because at the end of the day, we always know. I see it in my career, and I saw it a lot in romantic relationships. I always knew what was right and what wasn't. I just tried to convince myself that that was not the way. But at the end, it was, my friend. So trust in your gut. And related to that, I wanted to also talk about our bodies. Not bodies physically, but we have 4 bodies within ourselves. The spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the physical. I want to focus on the first 3, spiritual, mental, emotional. Whenever you are going out of your comfort zone and you are doing something for the first time. I remember when I invested in my first $15,000 training for the first time, okay? This was a 3-week training. It was a very intensive training. It had a little bit of everything, including oral tests, impromptu presentations. Oh my God, it was nonstop. And it was to become a better speaker and a trainer of NLP, of Neuro Linguistic Programming. And I spent $15,000 there. I remember when I was exposed to that situation, my spiritual body was like, yes, this makes so much sense. You know, invest in yourself because your return is gonna be a lot bigger. You're gonna grow, you're gonna push yourself. This makes sense. Mentally, I was like, yeah, this makes sense. Gotta invest on myself, get a bigger return on investment, be a better speaker, better communicator. 3 weeks, super intense, not non-stop, like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I've never done it. Let's do it, right? Mentally, it was like, yeah, this makes sense. Emotionally, when I saw that number, the 15,000, I was like, oh my God, I'm afraid. My scarcity mindset just bubbled up, and I was like, can I do it? My mom depends financially on me. Is this irresponsible? Like all of these things. And when that happens, let me tell you, it means that there is baggage, emotional baggage coming up. Because when your spiritual, your mental are aligned and they are telling you yes, yes, and your emotional, because of fear, tells you hell no, you go for it. Because I knew this, I went for it. And honestly, it was the best training I've ever taken in my life. I felt pushed, I grew, stretched, but it was just amazing. So when your gut tells you go for it, when your mental tells you yes, makes sense, and your emotional is like, oh, I don't know, I've never done this before, you go for it, my friends, okay? Because this is all about internal fulfillment, and those opportunities longer term, you're gonna look back and see how all the dots perfectly connect in order to get you there. Now, the other thing about external validation is letting go of that fear of being seen like you're starting small. Because when you decide to fulfill your purpose, you gotta start small. Hey, everyone started with 0 followers on Instagram or Facebook, okay? It is a normal process and you gotta be comfortable with that. You are doing it for yourself. No one else is paying your bills or designing your life. You do it for you. So letting go of that fear of embarrassment and being seen as starting small. And another reminder that I had in my notes that I want to mention is the only person that knows what fulfills you and the only person that knows what the right step is for you is yourself. That's why I love coaching, because coaching is such an inside-out process. It's not telling you what to do, but actually supporting you and guiding you to find those answers that are within you, my friend. Because when you find those answers for yourself, instead of someone telling you what the answers are, that's when you are gonna feel fulfillment. Internal fulfillment versus external validation. That's the mindset shift number 1, okay? The second one is complacency. From complacency to seeking growth. Now, a lot of people are feeling like they're comfortable where they are. And at the same time, in that comfort, they feel uncomfortable because they know they can grow more. They know they can stretch more. They know that there is a voice inside themselves telling them, you're meant for something bigger. You can do hard things. Because the reality is like, there is not fun on fulfillment on choosing the easy route. Why we don't choose a route that is gonna make us grow? And as I've mentioned before, it's not about going from 0 to 100. It's not about leave your job and go all in your thing. No, there is a process of clarity and taking action that you gotta get while you get there, right? I'm a huge proponent. If you want to do what I did, start while working your 9 to 5, start while working your corporate. Don't do it all like crazy, because there is a lot of planning to do beforehand and a lot of clarity actually to achieve before making such a big transition like the one I did. So you gotta choose and go from complacency to a place where you're seeking growth, but it's a growth you truly enjoy. It's a growth you're passionate about, that when things get challenging or hard, you keep pushing because you have a clear vision of where you're going to, my friends. Now, the other one is in this complacency zone to go to seeking growth is taking responsibility for change. If you are in a place that you don't enjoy, if you're in a place that you're asking yourself, what is the next thing? Because I don't see myself here long term. It's taking that responsibility to take action and define those next steps and gain clarity. And for that, a lot of times you gotta invest money, energy, and time. When I didn't have clarity and I knew that I was meant for something bigger, I went to a Tony Robbins event by myself. I was like, no one wants to go with me. It's totally fine. This is my path. I'm sure I have the ability to meet new people in that realm, right? In the personal development space. And that was the best decision I've ever taken. That was my first step to investing fully on myself. And I guarantee you, after there, I didn't stop. After there, from Tony Robbins, I was certified as a coach, speaker, and trainer with the John Maxwell team. That was like 2014. Yeah, I think it was 2014. I mean, I've been investing on myself like nonstop, and I truly think it is important for many reasons. Why you're telling yourself, I am worth it to be where I am, and I'm worth it to be investing in my growth. I mean, we invest in going out to dinner all the time, in coffees, in alcohol. Why not invest in something that is gonna increase and boost your fulfillment, and it's gonna help you make an impact in others' lives? Because let me tell you, when you're living in your authenticity, when you're living a purpose-driven life, you know how many people you're also inspiring? You know how many people, because you are happier and you believe in what you're doing, you can impact with even your energy of how you feel. So being open-minded to invest in yourself and take responsibility for that change, that is so important. It's like a project, right? You gotta invest, then you gotta return on investment. That's what it is. And then being exposed to different communities and like-minded people. That's one of the things that when I invest in events, I want to make sure that this community of this person that I'm investing on, that it is aligned with my values, right? Because I think who you surround yourself with is who you're gonna become a lot of times. Okay, my friends, so from external validation to internal fulfillment, mindset shift number 1 we discussed. The second one, from complacency to seeking growth. And the last one is from impatience to trust. I'm working on this one. I'm gonna be the first one who raises her hand because I am. And I love what one of my favorite spiritual teachers says. His name is Wayne Dyer. And he says, you know, people don't have trust in the process. They want to control every single thing. But there is this higher universal intelligence that is actually making things happen as long as you're working for it. And he mentions the example of the nails. He says, we are not like looking at our nails like last night, waiting to see if they grow the next day. No, we just know that it's gonna happen. We just know that our heart is gonna beat. We just know that our nails are gonna grow. You just trust it. It's not something you overthink. So why we treat life and even career differently? And believe me, it's not easy. It does make sense. Just giving your best, taking responsibility, and surrendering that whatever outcome you get is the one that is of the highest good for you. Because even if it's the outcome that you didn't want, you know what? There is a lesson to be learned there. So ask yourself, if you get something that was not what you were looking for, or I was looking for, I want you to ask yourself, what is the lesson to be learned here that I'm gonna apply moving forward until I get the outcome I want and I deserve? So from impatience to trust, those are the 3 mindset shifts I wanted to talk about today. The first one is from external validation to internal fulfillment. The second one is from complacency to seeking growth, to stretching yourself. And the last one is from impatience to trusting, to surrendering to the outcomes after you have taken the action. Those are the 3 mindset shifts to live a purpose-driven life, because it is important to be who you want to be, do what you're meant to do, and have the things you truly deserve. So cheers to living a purpose-driven life, my friends, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening at With Clarity and Purpose. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Sharing is caring. Please share with your friends and family so we can continue building an empowered community together. I'll see you next week.